welcome to episode 240 of Red Wings Rant, where tirades and impassioned pleas for your Detroit Red Wings finally have a home. That's right. We got another draft prospect to talk about. I kind of feel like this conversation came out of nowhere. All thanks to Corey Pronman and the efforts of friend of the show, maybe, I don't know. He doesn't answer my tweets anymore. Max Boltman. Actually, I'm not even on Twitter anymore. I don't even know what to do. I don't know what we should do anymore about social media because it's so nice never posting on social media. It's the best.
I've been rewatching some favorite comedies on Netflix, and there's that line in Anchorman where they're like, "We've been going to the same party for 18 years now, and in no way is that depressing." And that's what I feel like Twitter is. I didn't sign in for a few days. I went back in, and it's the same party. It's been going on since Twitter started. So,
yeah, I was my experiment was going into wrestling Twitter on the day of Jeff Hardy getting another DUI. So I was like, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, the wrestling news is huge this week. Vince McMahon with a big scandal, and now you do the math. Shane's out of the company. Stephanie's out of the company. Triple H is on the mend. Vince is going to get out, and then it's going to be a Khan running AEW and a Khan running WWE. Nice. They're going to open that forbidden door. Anyway.
Mike, it just so happens everybody's probably watching, I don't know, maybe the Stanley Cup Finals right now. So we just have Jared aboard right now. Jared,
that's okay.
Posting an emoji of, is that Easter Island? Is that what we call that? What is it?
That is Easter Island. Yes.
What are those little? Yeah. Do those have a name though? Are they just the stat?
It could also be a nose pass from the popular video game Pokemon. And eventually, when it evolves, it gets a big nose and a mustache, so it kind of looks like Mr. Potato Head. It's not, but
so. He was bored. So, Jared, I'm glad you were bored because we need right now. It's just the three of us who are going to talk about Marco Kasper. That's right. Should the Red Wings draft Marco Kasper? I think. Now's as good a time as any for us to bring up our little PowerPoint slide here, and we've had sort of this repeated slide as we've moved along here to kind of give everybody a little intro for the players if they haven't gotten to know them yet. But we got a little bit of Jared's comment there is covering our slide. Sorry, Jared. Mike, we've got an 18-year-old Marco Kasper from Austria playing in the SHL for Rogo. That's right. Where, of course, Mort Seider just absolutely destroyed the SHL. That fact has been the major connection between the Red Wings' interest, as well as Marco Kasper this week talking about all of his interviews with NHL GMs and how much fun or how much, I guess he's going to remember the conversation with Steve Yzerman. So you got good feelings with a face-to-face conversation with your future boss, maybe. But Mike, he's a 6'2" center. He's 187 pounds. Mike, we've been going over some of these names. This might be... he's a fit kid. This is definitely the fattest. I'm sorry, he's muscly. He's the heaviest, I'll put it that way, of most of the kids that we've been talking about.
Well, I weigh about $190 at 5'8". So if you stretched me out and chopped off 3 pounds, you're gonna get Marco Kasper. So be nice. Yeah, but this kind of stuff just blows my mind. Like, it's a little bit like, I'll do a good baseball example, like Miguel Cabrera.
Yeah.
You know what? We know him now as like a chubby power hitter, right? 'Cause that's what he's done for 18 of his 20 years in baseball. But he came in as like a spry, third baseman or outfielder. They're like, wow, what a fielder. I think he actually played some shortstop, and then they plunked him where he actually belongs at first base. So I guess that kind of brings me to Marco. I don't know why we made a chubby joke. He's really not at all.
Yeah, like jokingly, 187 pounds. Like that's, yeah. He's still got 40 pounds on me.
No,
then,
what I was going to say is just from what I've been reading, like he's a center because the draft is coming up. And he played his first pro, like with the league were actually played against men, not playing against, the kids, 16, 17. His first time playing with men. He was on the wing, which is not to say that he could never be a center, or that you can't have a bunch of value guys on guys who play on the wing. Hello Tampa Bay Lightning, who are probably going to win another cup here with a lot of good players on the wing. It looks like, but I don't know how much value to give this position identifier, because we didn't actually see him play against men from the center role, so he could grow into it, but it just seems like a convenience.
I guess I hear your point. I would at least look at it as like he's more of a center than Lekkerimäki, right? Who's just solidly a winger. He's got the experience as a center. But yeah, well, like we were also like this was brought to our attention also because the Athletic is going deeper into their draft coverage. So of course, that means we're looking at Scott Wheeler's stuff, and Scott was calling out that even in Kasper's I don't know, the prospectus, I guess, is how we want to reference this. That there's a lot of questions as to whether he'll be a center or a wing, and that's not necessarily the realm you want to be in when the other GMs that you're talking to are also like, I don't know, maybe center, maybe wing. So it's not to say that this is, we love to play in the gray here. We're not, we don't like the black and white yes or no's. But as we play in the gray, and we love to play in the gray, it's not good to say, well, we don't know if he'll be a center. You'd like to play the game that absolutely the guy we're going to be drafting, center. But also, we could take a look at Scott Wheeler's picks right now, his first or maybe his last mock draft. He has the Red Wings taking Matty Savoie, which would, Mike, I think you'd be a huge fan of that. But you look at Matty Savoie, his profile too, center, right wing, boom, right there. So it's not something exclusive to Kasper. But I think it's a positive when you look at Savoie, you look at Kasper, you're looking at guys that have experience with center. It's not necessarily a positive. Let's put it that way. It's definitely not just like bad news, but it's not something that is considered a positive when you see a guy who we want to draft a center isn't necessarily going to hold on to that role as he moves to the NHL. Like, it's not a sure thing. So that's not a positive. That's all we're saying.
Yeah, I think he's another guy that reminds me of, the analogy that, drafting these guys, it's like looking at a painting, and it's kind of in the eyes of the beholder, what kind of narrative you can kind of create with the player. So, seeing that, he's a center, marked as a center, but played a lot as a wing, right? And you can kind of be discouraged that, when he was actually in the league playing against men, he was relegated to the wing. But, if you want to flip it and take a positive spin at looking at the Kasper painting, you're getting a little bit more, of a feel of what he's going to look like at the NHL level, because it turns out that league is actually full of men. So, if he's still producing points, he's still a productive player. He still stands out against, other men. I think that's, as somebody evaluating talent, you want to feel like they, aren't just, stuffing the stat sheets, against, teenage punks. So, I think there's a little, you could kind of look at it either way, but he has a high enough compete level. That's what I've been reading. Everybody kind of raves about with this guy.
We hear that a lot.
I feel like if he's competing against kids, that's one thing. But if you can actually see him standing out amongst the other adult people, you're going to feel a little bit better about him on draft night, I think. So I don't think this would be a bad pick at all. I'm just curious what we're getting.
I think that you were leaning towards this too, but you get a guy who was listed as center, you move him to wing, and now he's playing in the SHL. A part of that is you absolutely have to get this guy on the ice, right? And they're just looking at it going, all right, we're not going to have his first experience playing against men. Be the role that he would take the most responsibility on the forward side. So, I wouldn't necessarily call it a demotion. I would think it would be a much easier role for him to get used to because we know there are more responsibilities as they move through the neutral zone and come into the defensive zone for that center. And now you can kind of get Kasper used to the speed, used to the physicality when he's playing against
men.
and instead, we could give him a shot at center once he has a little bit more experience. I think that's the way to go. But more importantly, Mike, Jared has some friends in the chat. Finally, good God, I'm glad some more folks showed up. Jared did want to point out that our boy Marco, like he's about 14 in the picture we had up.
For all the talk about him playing with men, this is easily the guy who looks most like a boy. So definitely a lot of room for growth on this little fella.
It's worth mentioning too. I think at his age, like this is the best point to mention this. His 6 points in I believe 14 games are tied for the most for a U18 player in the SHL playoffs. I think that relates, right? We're talking about how young he looks. Well, he's so young. Mike, how young is he? He had 6 points and it's tied for a record. No, and I'm not stinking against the record. That's really cool. That's how you pick guys that are going to be making a difference. You put them in the we want to talk about high level compete, right? You put him in the hardest competition, SHL play, at least for his league in the SHL. You put him in the SHL playoffs, and that's when he starts producing a little bit more. Could be too. Coach sees what he's been doing all year. He leans on him a little bit more, gets him those opportunities to score. Thumbs up. All right, but also, like I said, we got some buddies in the chat. Finally, Curtis is aboard. It's been forever since Curtis has been around for Live. We've had
how you doing, Curtis?
Chat back and forth with Curtis and just like old episodes and just in the regular old YouTube comments. Curtis, glad you're aboard. Eric Johnson, of course, my favorite. Every episode.
My dude.
Hi guys. I do love this. Hey, I'm not alone. Curtis throws out there also the love for Eric. We all love that. That's how he greets us. Dan B coming in here. Last few years, Scott Wheeler's analysis of Wings picks was way off. I think I pronounced that properly, Mike. Not sure I trust his opinion. Dan, I will say he did love Edmondson and Wallander, and for 2 straight seasons, maybe he didn't pick them, but he did walk away after analyzing their game like the following season. Of course, that would be Edmondson's past season. This is Wallander a season ago. Scott Wheeler did. It's almost like he, not an apology, but it was just like a retread, right? Like he came back and was like, oh, these guys, and Mike, we throw this at Edmondson all the time, and we look for it when we're looking for our next Red Wings draft pick. That is the horse that pierces the sky. My sword will pierce the sky. Unicorns. Come on, we're looking for unicorns.
I said Soderblom. Yeah. Oh, did you not know that word? Did you forget it for a second? I left you hanging.
Me?
Yeah.
Unicorns?
Oh, I thought you were doing like pointy horse, and I thought you forgot the word for a minute.
Oh, I wanted you to say unicorn. Sorry.
Oh,
we don't.
I apologize.
We're how long have we been brothers? We still don't have good chemistry.
We're getting there.
So I will say, Dan, if Wheeler, I guess, Dan, I don't even know what to say right now because I was about to say if Wheeler becomes a fan of him next year. But that does jack shit for us right now. But Dan, I mean, you have nailed it. Like it is one of those things where Scott has kind of been way off, not only on who he's going to pick, but then the guys that we end up picking, he's not the biggest fan of, but he becomes a huge fan the next year. So kind of a rolling trend for Mr. Wheeler. Also, I throw out there Pronman. kind of the same boat. The Athletic not doing so great with scouting. Pronman still putting up a fight against Moritz Seider. I don't know, Mike, if you listen to the Prawn Man on his podcast or read his articles, it's still one of those games that he's playing all the time where he's just like, I like Moritz Seider. He's gonna be great. He's gonna be an every game NHL player, but I don't see elite. He's like, you could still be good and not be elite. Like he goes to that length to explain himself out of the massive hole that he's dug for himself in regards to the Seider analysis. But I will say this, like, it's still kind of odd, Dan, that when I'm gonna scroll down here because eventually Scott Wheeler, even though he has us picking Savoy, at number 14 he has the Jets picking Marco Kasper, and his analysis is so weird. He says, if the Red Wings don't take Kasper 6 picks before at number 8, then the Jets might take him. So yeah, there's that. Just it's such a I can't really recall the last time, especially with the Red Wings, that there's been an analysis like this on a player, especially Kasper, where like what did we have? If I could pull up, I'm gonna make this as big a screen as possible for me. Consolidated ranking for Kasper, number 19. Elite Prospects, number 17. FC Hockey has him at 18. Bob McKenzie has him at 17. McKean's 24. Craig Button, 27. It's just Central Scouting, but specifically for EU skaters. Let's not forget that. A lot of people have shouted out, yeah, but he's number 5 for Central Scouting. Yes. For European skaters, he's number 5. So clearly not counting anybody from North America in that list. But yes, number 5 there. Sportsnet, number 14. ISS Hockey, number 12. This is for all the podcast listeners, of course. Recruit Scouting, number 19. Dober Prospects, number 19. Draft Prospects Hockey, number 22. Smart Scouting, number 31, based out of Boston, I'm guessing. And the Puck Authority, number 21. Mike, that's a hell of a list to have the Red Wings picking him at number 8. And of course, Pronman, really excited about what I mentioned earlier at 18, those 6 points in the playoffs in 13 games. Half a point per game. He's 18. I would remind everyone we are talking about, when we talk about an 18-year-old kid, a 6'2", 287-pound 18-year-old kid. I don't think we're looking at a kid who's about to hit 6'6", 220 in the next couple of years. I think our boy, he might be filled out. I think we got a 6'2", 287-pound kid, also an adult. So I think in regards to him getting half a point per game, I think that also needs to be taken into consideration. Talk about an 18-year-old kid, pretty big 18-year-old kid, sizable. We've talked about older people in the NHL who are way smaller than Marco Kasper. So I just think it's all these things have to be taken into consideration. And I think the one thing for me that has me going, if this happened, I'd be okay with it. It would pretty much be that we're talking about another center, which we've already talked about the problems, that he's playing wing on the SHL, which again, there's probably like 8 different ways, 8 different schools of thought in regards to him playing wing. Again, we mentioned it. You just absolutely have to get him on the ice. It's at least a lower pressure going from neutral zone to D zone. Every zone, really, it's harder for the center, but that's always what I felt like Mickey Redmond was teaching us in the Pavel Datsyuk era. It's not necessarily just bad, but not necessarily positive is the thing about him being center. So,
yeah, I was just gonna drop one thing on you.
Yeah. Is this about Marco?
It's a scouting report.
Go for it.
Blank is one of those players who isn't going to wow you with his offensive upside, but has proven he has the skill needed to be more than a tough minutes option who goes off the glass and out. His size, which has room to become even stronger, and length define him, but he also possesses okay puck handling ability, a wrist shot that has some whip and bend to it, and rapidly improving skating. He's reliable in his own zone, rubs carriers out along the wall, and has the skill needed to escape and exit the zone with an outlet pass. Though I wouldn't take him in the first round, I won't be surprised when a team does. Matt, who's being described in that scouting report?
I feel like I have to say Mort Sider.
Matt, Scott Wheeler ranked him 35.
Whoa! All right, Dan B, you called it. Wow, that is insane. I will say rattled off the top of my head. I knew Scott ranked him poorly, but I didn't realize it was that bad.
I mean, in Scott's defense, I don't think anybody but Yzerman thought that Mo should have been, what, was it pick number 6?
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, it just goes to show you, these guys work really, really hard and watch a lot more tape than, a lot of us do. You can still be totally wrong. But man, who should write these articles is Yzerman. Do you think that, because we do want to talk a little bit more about Marco. I know we actually have some stats for him, but do you think that there's, like the NFL does that Hard Knocks show?
Yeah.
Do you feel like there's ever a chance, like, post-draft, they'd be able to, like, show us what these teams, like, thought of these players and how they ranked them? Or is it too tough because then at some point you'd know that you ranked some guy, like, 88th, in the draft, and then eventually when he's a free agent and he actually managed to, like, work really hard and become an asset, then that can kind of be held against you to be like, whoa, you thought I was number 88? Come on, bro, I was like a top 3 pick. Or do you think, like these teams don't want to give away like how they value guys? Do you think there's ever a scenario where we will be like privy to that information?
No, I think they've like at almost every job at that level where, I mean, we're talking about like positions that are close to like a C-suite, right? When we're looking at like a regular setup for a corporation, you're talking about your chiefs. And this is how they get there. And unfortunately, this is also Steve Yzerman. We love Steve, but also I think they just way overvalue what they're actually offering. Like, I think a lot of the jobs that are out there for corporate positions are much easier than these companies, and especially the people who work them lead on. So I would say to that end, they value that thought process and their ranking so much. I think they're never going to give it away. They see it like as their secret sauce, and they don't want to give away a single ingredient, and that would be the fear. I'm really proud of that analogy, by the way. We did bring up the points. Sorry. We did bring up the points per game, and compared to Lucas Raymond, it's right there, 1.3 for Lukey. Kasper, 1.14. On this list, too, we're looking at William Eklund, Alexander Holtz, William Nylander. So this is very similar to what we were looking at to Lekkerimaki before, who had similar rankings. And Kasper and Lekkerimaki are like neck and neck when it comes to like a production standpoint. So if you want to call them both wingers, I mean, is there anything, Mike, that we've talked about so far that would push us in that direction of? And you know what? We didn't even bring up any highlights for Kasper. We're looking at NHL Draft Pros. I don't know if you brought that up, Mike. We're fans. I say go follow, go subscribe. NHL Draft Pros on YouTube. This is the lowest quality video I've ever seen on YouTube. This is terrible, and it's not it's not the analysis, even though I think we've described in the past, Mike, how much we love the analysis on NHL Draft Pros. It's just so fanny. It's just a fan going like, oh, whoa, look at that shot. Like, there's no real dissection. He's just really excited about it. But the video quality is absolute shit. It's awful. It's just this fuzzy little. I feel like I'm watching something from the 90s. I am kind of stoked. If you Google search Marco Kasper right now, we're actually the third result on YouTube. That's
Hey.
Surprising. I am surprised by that. This video that we're recording right now. All right. Jared threw out there, going back to the Mickey Redmond mention. I'm still laughing at the fact that Mickey had an interview at the Meyer Open, and the broadcast had him named as Herman Moore. Of course. Just they look up the Detroit legend and hit random. Generate, of course, Herman Moore comes up for Mickey Redmond. Skipped over
quick,
Eric's comment because not because I'm bringing it up because I think this should be our next episode. But Eric would take Cutter over Marco, and I believe we've mentioned Cutter a few times, but only in like rankings from some point per game perspectives and from rankings from like elite prospects, consolidated rankings. But yeah, I think Cutter should definitely be next. I think he's still landed in some. Oh my gosh, what are they called? Mock drafts for the Wingding. So I think that's definitely worth our time.
Yeah. Real quick, I did just want to throw out too the other really good video feed that I think his name's David San Louis.
Yeah.
For the elite prospects, that guy's really good.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you absolutely have to take the time for that one. I want to get Tristan's thoughts out here. Tristan's aboard. Kasper is a Swedish Veleno. Oh boy. He'll be a third line center. We need a guy with top line upside if possible. Tristan, we haven't ranked him yet. Gotta say, I think we might both be leaning in that direction as hopefully trying to get everybody on board with going over the rankings.
It's going to be pretty divisive, Tristan, because you and I believe Matt consider Veleno a third or fourth line center, while other people have already put him in the Hall of Fame. So pretty divisive comment there.
Dan B, nothing against Wheeler. I'm sure he's far more knowledgeable than me. Dan, I think we would get along in a hockey conversation. I was just re-listening to his review of Seider and Raymond and thought he was wrong on many opinions. Dan, this is why I think we'd get along, because we look at Scott Wheeler's like I respect Scott Wheeler. Like I would have him as a guest on the show and I would ask him questions and I'd want to know his opinion. But at the same time, I will never forget how little he thought of Seider and Lucas Raymond. Like it's something that bothers me. And I think it's fair as someone who that's their job, right? That's their position, is to watch hockey and try to properly grade these guys so that we can make sort of an assessment, as silly as that sounds, based off of somebody else's assessment. And you got to trust them. And that should break your trust. That's huge to miss the mark on that. I would say both those guys on the Athletic haven't done an amazing job. And what stinks too, when you look at how these guys get lined up in the draft, the guy who continuously gets it right, it's the old fart himself, Bob McKenzie, who's switching his Twitter profile picture to him drinking some Bahama Mamas. I think he waits till after the Stanley Cup, but yeah, I think he's been like unofficially retired, but likes collecting a paycheck from TSN. That's sort of his role right now.
It's kind of my thing. Yeah, I still will maintain that the hardest sport to get a top prospect, still for me, baseball. Just too many people, then hockey, then probably football, and then basketball. Like just figuring out who's going to be an ace right out of the gate. I still feel like that's the thing. Remember how high we were on Lafreniere, and now it's like, if you had the offer to Lafreniere for Lucas Raymond, who says no to that trade, man?
Well, yeah, it's also, you get a lot of personal feelings there now. I have a Lucas Raymond jersey, but yeah, I mean, at this
pretend
point,
he wasn't your son and answer.
Yeah, at this point, I'm taking Lucas Raymond over Lafreniere. I think if you've seen what those two have done so far, I think it's still pretty tough. I think it's still a toss-up. I don't think we know enough. But you'd also be crazy to say, I am absolutely taking Lafreniere, right?
Yeah. I mean, you're picking Lafreniere, pretty highly touted, or the runner-up for Rookie of the Year to Mo Seider. I mean, it's tough going. You know? I know he's not, but fourth place in our hearts.
Eric thrown out there. I don't think Savoy is going to be gone. Or he actually corrected himself. He said not gone. There. I don't think Savoy is going to be there when we pick. Maybe Nazar is a possibility.
Nazar is definitely going to be there.
Yeah, I think what's funny too is the more we looked at these guys, the more I wanted Frank, even over Savoy. And I think who have we done so far? We've done Savoy, Navar, Brad Lambert,
yep,
and Lekkerimäki, right?
Yep.
And now Marco Kasper, right? That sounds like 5. Did that sound like 5 to you?
That sounded like 5 to me.
So last week I ranked him Nazar. I believe, I could be wrong, so somebody could call me out on this. I believe I did Frank, Savoy, Lambert, Lekkerimäki. So now that we've added Marco Kasper, this is the order Matt would draft these guys. And as we go down the draft list, who's ever available, if all 5 were available, I'm taking Frank first. Frank comes off the board, taking Savoy, so on and so forth. Mike, with the guys that we've looked at so far, Marco's going after Lekkerimäki. I'm pretty confident in saying that. Now, you had a different list. I don't know if you remember your order.
I was still it's gonna move a little bit, but I'm still. I think Tristan's on board with this too. Is kind of chasing high ceilings, and that's why I'm still going for Lambert, Lekkerimäki. Then give me Savoy. That's going to be my top 3.
I don't know why you like being wrong, but yeah, I guess that's a pick.
Give me some high ceiling guys. My speed, my shooter, and then Savoy. I don't know. I'm not as sold on the centers yet. I do think that this is Shane Wright and then a bunch of Velenos. So I'm not really sold on them.
Yeah, I think you could make it.
No, you know what? I'll say that
it's good to go.
I think who's going to jockey for 3rd or 4th will be Marco, because I do like watching. I feel like we're getting more examples of that too. Like it's kind of going across baseball. It's going across basketball, where they're starting to draft guys not just who play abroad, but who do play against men. And Marco Kasper has that resume playing against, not just the snot-nosed 16-year-old. So
yeah,
it makes me feel a little bit better about the risk at number 8, because we know you're getting a guy with warts. It's not one of the top 3 picks. So yeah, I'm going to slot him in at 3 or 4, and I can be persuaded on that.
Well, I don't think that's. I mean, yeah, it's really hard to argue against that. And how did you just put it? What are they all going to have? Like nobody's going to be perfect, and I that's the important assessment. Yeah. And I think it makes it easier to stomach whoever we take. I don't know though with this Marco Kasper thing, with everybody getting real excited about 6 points in the playoffs. I think Marco might be the first guy that I would go, oh come on, it was 13 games like that. I gotta admit, I could be wrong on this. I could look like the doofus. I think that would be the first guy on our list that we've looked at so far where I'd be like, come on. What are we doing? Let's not be so silly. It was just 6 points and 13
He's just a boy. He's just a boy.
It's true. He is.
Just teasing his face. Being a
so is everybody else. So I think that's where I'm going to land on Marco. I'm not gonna give up on the Red Wings, of course not. But that'll be the pick where I'm gonna be like, geez, what are we doing? Are we really? We're outsmarting the world. Like I get it, we did it with Seider, but oh god, really? I don't know. It's 13 games.
Matt, you'll be buying a jersey in 3 years. Who are you kidding?
All right. Well, another jersey I'm going to be considering next year, Mike, is going to be our boy Elmer Soderblom, he is signed. He's got that ELC good to go.
Throw your unicorns up.
Oh.
Yep. Little Soderblom action there.
My Soderblom will touch the
sky.
All right. I mean, this is exciting. Grand Rapids for sure.
Did we give him too short a contract?
That's how you got. That's like the only way you can do your ELC.
We couldn't have got 10 years? Come on. You don't let a Hall of Famer walk away.
So you want to extend it right now?
I want to sit him down.
I don't know this for sure, but I don't think you can actually start that conversation until you're at the 1 year point. I don't think you can. And I know you're kidding too about doing more than 3 years.
I would give it one practice.
See how he looks.
See if we can extend the contract. Yeah.
Hey, Jared's got it. There's the unicorn.
Hey, beautiful. Jared, throw your unicorns up. I like it. Pretty excited to watch him. That signing is enough for me to book a little mini trip to Traverse City to go watch that guy play.
Curtis, you know what? I think I put that in my YouTube description for the episode. That Curtis is a big fan of that. Did we give him too short of a?
I appreciate the look.
That's gonna be one, Mike. I think we are so close to the Red Wings now.
I thought you were gonna say to the heavens. Now that we have a unicorn, we can ride up there.
We can. We can ride on the shoulders of unicorns, Mike. Yep. Now that we're so close to the Wingdings and we've been watching Soderblom for the last couple of seasons, think about how long this love affair has lasted. This wasn't even one World Junior. This was 2 World Juniors ago. We started our love affair, and really it started even before that. I remember having Ryan Lambert on our show and being like, hey, this guy's 6'8". I think we should be excited about him. And the response was yeah, but he was also a 7th round pick. It's yeah, but he's 6'8". Just great back and forth. I highly recommend you guys check that out. Anyways, I think this is one for me. This is a hard consideration for a Griffins jersey. The first one. I like the conversation to go this way because clearly we're not going to talk about anything else. Is he going to make the team? I don't know. Depends on injuries. Depends on who we're going to sign. Depends on how he plays in training camp. Can we say that? I think that's fair. But
it depends on if we're trying to still tank and get another draft pick. Because if you call him up, you're going to the playoffs.
that took. I was reading comments and I needed a second to digest that one.
They're gonna have to clip the wings of this beautiful unicorn, so to speak, to miss the playoffs with this guy on the payroll. I'm very excited about this.
Now, some folks have made the comment that Edmondson isn't necessarily good to go, and if he comes to North America, there's a much better chance compared to what Seider's reality was last year. Even though Seider played in Grand Rapids, then he went to the SHL, then he came to Detroit. But there's a very good chance after Edmondson's year in the SHL that is very highly touted, which is where I'm coming from, off of Seider's very highly touted year in the SHL, that Edmondson still needs an opportunity to play in Grand Rapids. Mike, do the Griffins win the Calder Cup with Edmondson and Soderblom?
This is the most stacked AHL team I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
I can't wait to go out to Grand Rapids.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
I almost want to buy a mini ticket package just to watch these guys.
I think the last little bit of news here we want to talk about Sebastian Cossa. Mike, now this is him. This is just the best tweet I could highlight because the other ones are videos. And while Cossa won Goalie of the Week in the WHL, of course, the WHL season is over because Cossa gets the shutout to send the Edmonton Oil Kings to the Memorial Cup. It's super exciting. So four-team playoff for the Cup. It is kind of funny. It's the CHL Championship, right? And I this is my first time really trying to get familiar with the Memorial Cup outside of playing it in EA Sports NHL game. Like you play it when you do like your build a character and do like be a pro mode. It's that collection of all the CHL leagues, and then the host city also gets to bring their team aboard. But more importantly, Costa sends his team to the Memorial Cup with a shutout. And of course, on top of the what we're highlighting here on, if you guys are watching on YouTube, but for the podcast listeners, is 3 games, 1.68 goals against, and a 944 save percentage. We were just talking about if there's an argument for Kasper getting those 6 points in 13 games when it mattered most. Costa's season, right? Last year, like the numbers were sexier. This year, Mike, he waited to have his best games till he could send his team to the Memorial Cup.
Oh,
that's exciting. Yeah, there's not too much to pull away from it because Costa was great last year in the WHL. We still saw a guy that struggled a little bit in training camp, so he's got a lot of development to go. But good news, right? Could always go. We've played that game before, right? Could go the other way. He could be an absolute mess, be an 890 goalie, but no, he's continuing that stellar play in the CHL and the WHL. So thumbs up all around. And did I make a slide for this? I did. What's the score right now? Jared was updating us
Colorado.
earlier. It's 3-1 Colorado right now.
3-1 now. Man, I missed 4 goals. All right.
So the layoff apparently isn't a thing.
So much for rust.
Not only is it 3-1, Lightning are being outshot by the Avalanche 15-8 right now. Are we at we are at the period break. So yeah, we have a full period of play. Oh boy. poor Lightning. Mike, what are we thinking here? It's unfair because we have a full period and most folks will not get that when they're trying to pick their Stanley Cup winner. I will say, I was pretty adamant when discussing this. Mike, we share a father, our father, Art in Michigan.
All right.
Yeah, he's Jesus Christ. That was awful.
That's the prayer. It's not.
He's alive and well.
Fine.
He might even be watching right now, and I'm super sad. Dad, sorry, but yeah, I was talking to our father.
Love you, Dad.
I told him I was cheering for the Lightning.
Yeah.
And picking the Lightning.
I am rooting for Tampa Bay, and I'm probably picking Colorado because I get disappointed every single year. That's not true because I was pretty happy at the Lightning one. But I just Colorado I'm not rooting for because they already have the beautiful state of Colorado, which my God, what a place to visit. The mountains, the water, there's moose there, there's elk, there's bears, and Tampa, it's Florida, so at least they'll have a winning hockey team. So when you see Florida, you'll think hockey. Sorry, Canada.
I'm kind of right there with you. I am coming off a vacation from Florida and sat next to someone at a coffee shop that was he said he grew up in Tampa, and he said like it was game 6 was that night, and he was just like, I don't get it. I don't get how people could get excited about this sport. It is literally the worst sport to watch. And then he went on to talk about how great baseball is. And I couldn't have been more sick to my stomach. Like, honestly, the whole time I did that thing where you hear somebody having a dumb conversation, like in the restaurant that you're in, and you just kind of do that, like over the shoulder. Like you want them to notice that you're looking over at them kind of look, but also I like to avoid conflict. So I'm not going to say like, hey, fucking idiot. Just you're literally comparing. You're talking about the worst sport after saying that hockey is unwatchable. So that guy
baseball, man, baseball has so much downtime. You can literally file your taxes while you're at the game.
Yeah. I guess my point was to your point of making Florida like a hockey state, which would be really funny for Florida to say that they're the state of hockey and take that away from Minnesota. But the people in Florida do not appreciate it at all. It was a struggle for me to find Game 6 being played in Tampa. And I was in Florida for my little vacation. It was very hard to find the game anywhere. And I was at a resort that had a ton of bars, and it was like, there isn't even basketball on right now. Why are we watching? Like, it was just like highlights for the NBA Finals instead of their state's hockey team, which we were closer at the time. We were closer to Florida Panthers country, but I guarantee that is not why.
Yeah, I don't think there's that kind of divide. Yeah.
No, I did want to talk about too. I picked the Lightning because I thought this layoff or the layover. Wait, how do you? All right, so it's been like 8 days or whatever, right? Since the Avs have played. I really thought. Yeah. I thought the Lightning would take like a 2-0 series lead, and now that it's 3-1, Avs clearly looks like the Avs are on their way to taking the first game. Of course, Lightning have so much talent, and the Avs are struggling with their goaltending that 3-3, no problem by the end of the second. But that's why I was picking the Lightning. I was like, all right, they'll probably at least take one of two. And then I saw them taking their 2 at home. And then I just was like, all right, you got to find one more win. And I don't know. I lost a lot of confidence in that after seeing the results of the first period. But that was my assessment. And I also look at these two teams and I see an Avalanche team that, despite sweeping the Oilers, struggled a couple of times. And I see a Lightning team that, despite losing a couple games to the Rangers, really took over and kind of just like, no, we're done. Like I made the call. Maybe it was an episode or two ago, but I said, no, the Lightning will win 4 straight. And this will, like, the Lightning are going to the Stanley Cup Finals. It's okay. This was while they were down 2-0. It's just because they are that complete team. And yes, this was also me patting myself on the back for calling 4 straight wins. Had to fit that in there. Had to fit that in there somehow.
Thanks.
Also, another element that I want the Lightning, Eric throws it out there. Eric, I totally agree. Would love to see a 3-peat. I think that's really cool. I think that would be cool to see that in my lifetime. No?
Yeah, I'd be on board. Like, yeah, we can go start watching it now, and I know we're almost.
Let everybody start watching.
This is our short episode. It's 48 minutes.
Yeah, right. We said 30 minutes. All right, everybody, we're going to sail off into the sunset. Enjoy second and third period. For everybody that's listening to the podcast, of course, you already know what happened. Maybe I was right. Maybe the Lightning made it 3-3. And they won in overtime, 4-3. That's my boom. Boom goes the dynamite. This one's going to end 8-1. All right, we'll see you guys a week from now. Of course, Father's Day coming up on Sunday. Matt's going to enjoy that. Get some free gifts for all you fathers out there. I hope you enjoy your Father's Day. But yeah, we'll see you guys next Wednesday to talk. How about for Eric? We'll talk Cutter. I think Eric, you were the one that threw out Cutter. Anyway, I'm still doing it. I never stop doing this. Please subscribe, like, go to Spotify, give us a rating, go to Apple Podcasts, subscribe, rate, and review. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.